What's up, guys? Today's video is going to be on why you should get contacts ASAP as soon as possible. So this video is really for if you currently are wearing glasses, or if you just, found out that, you have bad eyesight and you need to, get glasses or maybe contacts. So if any of those are for you, then, stick around for this video. So yeah, let's get right into it. So, before I get into the benefits of why you should wear contacts, I'm going to give you, my journey, of wearing, my eyesight journey, right? So it all started for me when I was in like third or fourth grade. They pretty much rounded all of the people in my class and brought us into one of the rooms in the school. It was like one of the kind of like the auditorium rooms or like kind of like music room. It was like size of two or three classrooms, and they didn't tell us why we were all had to go there. But, once we were in the room, they had doctors and eyesight doctors, and they had on the walls, like if you ever went to like a eye doctor's office, they have those, letters on the wall, all the top letters being pretty big, and as you go down line by line, they get smaller and smaller. So they pretty much were giving us eye exams, honestly. So, we were doing that, and from that, I found out that, I needed to get, some type of corrective glasses or, something to fix my eyesight, right? So, or at least correct it, right? So, I think contacts were probably an option. Kids can probably get contacts, but, we just kind of went the glasses route, more simple and kind of more mainstream, right? So, you know, got glasses after that, and that was around third or fourth grade. So, I'm in my 20s now, and, you know, I'm currently wearing contacts, but I wore those glasses for honestly until middle of college for me. So, all those years wearing glasses, right? Just to talk about, they were good, like, they fixed my vision, but they definitely had some cons, and, I wish I had worn contacts over those years instead of glasses, I'm gotten these contacts sooner. So one of the big cons, honestly, of glasses is it makes you look dorky and a bit nerdy, right? So, when you're wearing glasses, and I actually have a pair of my current glasses. I actually still have a pair of glasses, even though I wear contacts day to day. I still have a pair of glasses just in case anything happened to my contacts, in case I have for whatever reason, eye irritation from something else, and I can't be putting contacts in my eyes for a day or so. I still have glasses, so these glasses, and I also use these for like, bedtime when it's bedtime and, I want to just be reading a book or, about to go to sleep. You can't go to sleep in your contacts, but you still want to see a little bit. So, you wear glasses. So, but back to my point, when you wear glasses, you're going to look a bit more nerdy and dorky. They're really going to hide a lot of your facial features, especially if you have a prominent brow. Most humans have like a prominent eyebrows, right? Not the eyebrows themselves, but like a brow as in the bone structure, and also your cheekbones as well. They're going to hide these facial features. So when you take off your glasses, you get contacts, you're probably going to look better. The best way I can say is, if have you ever seen like a friend of yours who usually has glasses, and then for whatever reason they, take them off for whatever reason, and you see him and you're like, wow, he or she looks a lot more hot or like, attractive or whatever, right? So first big reason of why you should get contacts, because, you could start looking a lot better. And for me, I feel like if I started wearing contacts, especially in like middle school or high school, I would have, been a bit more confident in myself and gotten a lot more respect from, other guys. You look a bit more mean, you look a bit more attractive, right? That's the name of the game, especially not just in high school or like, middle school or college, but in whole life. The more attractive you are, the more better you kind of get treatment from others, especially the opposite sex. So that's the first reason why you should get contacts. You're gonna just look better. Second reason you should get contacts is because if you have glasses, they're just gonna really get in the way, in your way if you do sports. So, if you play any type of physical sport, soccer, football, whatever, glasses are really gonna get in the way. They can fall off, they can get hit, they can get damaged. You can have a lot of issues with glasses. And to share with you guys a personal story of mine, when I entered my freshman year of high school, I actually joined our freshman football team. So I was a wide receiver. That was the position I played. And if you don't know what the wide receiver is or much about football, the wide receiver is pretty much the guy. He has to, when the play starts, each play, when the play starts, his job is to run around and try to get open. So then the person with the football, the quarterback, can throw it to him, and then the wide receiver can catch the football and try to score a touchdown, try to progress his team down the field, right? So very important that you have your eyesight for that position, because literally you're going to be running around and then you're going to see this little like brown ball start coming towards you. You're going to have to like be able to look at it and then catch it, So unfortunately for me, I couldn't really wear my glasses in my helmet that we wear for football. I mean, you could, but they would probably get damaged or something, and I really didn't want that to happen. So I wasn't totally blind my freshman year. I could still everything was a bit blurry, but it definitely made catching the football a lot harder for me. Like I'd have to I'd run my route and then I'd look up in the air, and then the football would just look like a small brown blob, and it would get closer to me, but it was very hard. It was all blurry to see. It was very hard to fixate my vision on that. So I would always just try to put my hands up the best I could to catch it, and I would, honestly, I wasn't very good at catching the football, so that wasn't very good. So that was one thing that I went through, unfortunately. And I did think about, I always kind of thought about, even back then, getting sports glasses, but unfortunately for me, money was a bit tight with the family, coming from an immigrant family. Even asking for like $20, $50, that was a big deal. So sports glasses would have been out of the question. Those would have cost like at least $200 or more, right? So I did that. But the funny thing is, after that freshman year of football, the summer before my sophomore year started, our team apologies, take a quick drink of water, actually flex my nice blue water bottle right here. So it's a good bottle too. I'm not doing a endorsement or anything, it's just the one I use. But yeah, where was I? Yeah, so the sophomore year before that football season started, that summer before sophomore year, we actually had a thing called Green Days for our football team. And Green Days is kind of like a thing like before the season starts, before you put on the pads and the helmet and all that. It's just like maybe a week or so, or like 2 or 3 days of all the players go on the field, but they're not wearing all their pads. They're doing all the drills that you would usually do, but it's no contact and you don't have to wear your helmet. So if you can guess where I'm going with this, if I could wear my glasses that day, so I didn't have to wear my helmet. I had my vision pretty good, and let's just say on that day when I was running my routes and footballs are being thrown at me, I was catching a good amount of them, like a lot of them, honestly. I was catching a lot of passes, to the point where one of my teammates was actually like, "Damn, Samit, you've been practicing, man. You're looking a lot better, man. You're better at catching." And I was like, thank you. I was doing better, but it was kind of sad because that was just for the Green Days, right? Once the normal season started and all that, we had to wear helmets and pads again. It was full on contact practice and games, so I I started dropping a lot of the footballs again, we'll say that. But that's just my story, right, of where I wish I was wearing contacts. So if I had contacts, I mean, yeah, they could come out, but it would be a bit less likely. You have a football helmet, your contacts are on your eyes, it's protection. I probably would have been just fine. Probably, would have done a lot better, honestly, as well. It's something that I still think about sometimes. So if I have a kid, which I will, and if he needs glasses or he needs to correct his vision, I'm gonna definitely get him, some contacts or maybe some sports glasses too. So yeah, that's the second reason why you should get contacts, just for sports and stuff. It can get in the way of stuff, even if you play like soccer or another sport, basketball, whatever, it helps a lot. And even to this day too, I actually do boxing. So with glasses, that would probably be a no-go, because then I couldn't, practice getting hidden. Like, I couldn't let my opponent hit me in the head. I would just have to let them hit me in the body. It was not a really good way to practice. It's not realistic, right? So I'm actually boxing with my contacts, and sometimes they do pop out. Like sometimes an opponent will hit you with their glove, it'll hit your eye, and sometimes the contact will fall out, but it's a bit more rare. And that's only for like sparring time. Usually you can, most of the time is drilling and stuff. So I'm able to really participate in boxing pretty well with my contacts. So that's pretty good. And the final reason you guys should get contacts I would really recommend is just cause glasses, if you have glasses and wear them, they're gonna really be affected by fogging and rain. So, to talk about first fogging, whenever I was in school, if you're getting up for school, it's probably like 6, 7 a.m. You're heading at the house at like 8 a.m. or whatever, and maybe even 7 a.m. if you have early school start, but you're heading out pretty early, and your house probably has controlled climate, controlled temperature, controlled humidity. And when you step out the door, you know, whatever, if the weather is very big difference in temperature or humidity, your glasses are just gonna get hit by, like, they're just gonna get fogged up, real quick. So that was always a thing that was pretty annoying for me. I'd walk out the house, open the door, walk out, and boom, glasses would fog up. That was pretty annoying. Another thing as well with the environment and your glasses is rain. The best analogy I can give you is imagine you're driving a car or you're in a car, but you don't have windshield wiper blades. So if it's raining, then all the rain's just hitting your windshield. It's hard to see, right? It's a bunch of water on it. So when you're wearing glasses, that's another thing. When it rains, it's gonna be annoying. It's gonna start hitting the lenses of your glasses, and you're gonna have to like either go inside or like wipe them off a lot or something. It's not as comfortable. So those are honestly the big three reasons I really believe you should get contacts. If you're wearing glasses currently, that's a big reason to get contacts. If you just learned that you need to correct your vision in some way, I would definitely suggest you get contacts for, you're just going to look better. You're just going to be able to participate in physical activities a lot better, more comfortably, and also, the environmental factors as well. But if you do get contacts, which I hope you do after watching this video, I would still recommend you get yourself a pair of glasses. Like I mentioned earlier, in case anything happens to your contacts, in case, I don't know, your eye, something happens to your eye and you can't really be putting a contact lens on your eye for a day or so, having a physical pair of glasses is very useful for that. And also too, like I mentioned, when I go to bed, I don't sleep in my contacts, right? Or if I know it's a day where I might take a nap or something, I'm just gonna wear my glasses, right? So that way when I'm about to fall asleep, I'm reading my book or I'm on my phone about to fall asleep, I can kind of just take off the glasses and put them to the side and, go to bed. So yeah, that's all for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and leave any comments, if you guys have any, your journey with glasses to contacts or, anything like that. So, all right. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.